Have you ever noticed how some people can sit alone in a room for hours and feel completely fine, while others start reaching for their phone after 30 seconds of silence? It's a strange thing when you think about it. Human beings spent thousands of years surrounded by other humans. We evolved in tribes, slept near each other, worked together, hunted together, survived together. Yet today, some of the happiest people you'll ever meet willingly spend entire weekends alone. They cancel plans. They disappear from group chats. They take solo walks without music, eat dinner by themselves, and somehow seem perfectly content. Meanwhile, society often treats this behavior like a warning sign. If someone enjoys being alone too much, people start asking questions. Are they lonely? Are they depressed? Did something happen to them? We tend to assume that solitude is what people settle for when connection fails. But psychology suggests something much more interesting. The people who genuinely enjoy being alone aren't necessarily avoiding life. In many cases, they're engaging with it differently. The assumption that being alone automatically equals loneliness comes from a misunderstanding of what loneliness actually is. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of meaningful connection. You can feel lonely in a crowded room, at a family gathering, even in a relationship. And you can feel completely fulfilled sitting by yourself on a quiet afternoon. Researchers have found that loneliness is less about physical isolation and more about the gap between the relationships you want and the relationships you feel you have. In other words, being alone and feeling lonely are not opposites. They're entirely different experiences. This becomes obvious when you look at people who constantly surround themselves with others, but still report feeling disconnected. The problem wasn't the quantity of interaction. It was the quality, yet we continue treating solitude as if it's inherently unhealthy. Part of that comes from the fact that humans are social creatures. Our ancestors depended on belonging. Being rejected by the group could literally mean death. Your brain still carries some of that ancient wiring. Social acceptance feels rewarding because, for most of human history, it increased your chances of survival. Rejection feels painful because your nervous system interprets it as a threat. What's fascinating, though, is that the modern world has changed faster than our psychology. Today, you're rarely in physical danger if you're alone. Yet many people still experience discomfort the moment external stimulation disappears. A silent room starts feeling uncomfortable. An empty afternoon feels wrong. The urge to check notifications becomes almost automatic. This isn't necessarily because you're lonely. It's because modern life has trained your brain to expect constant input. Every vibration, every message, every update creates a tiny interruption that pulls your attention outward. Over time, many people lose the ability to simply exist without being occupied by something. The result is that solitude starts feeling unnatural, even though it once would have been a normal part of daily life. Psychologists sometimes talk about something called self-concept clarity. It's the degree to which you understand who you are independently of external validation. People with high self-concept clarity tend to feel less threatened by solitude because they aren't relying on constant social feedback to maintain their sense of identity. They know what they value. They know what they think. Their internal world remains relatively stable, whether someone is paying attention to them or not. Compare that to someone whose identity depends heavily on external approval. For them, being alone can feel disorienting. Without reactions, without feedback, without an audience, there's uncertainty. The silence isn't peaceful, it's unsettling. This might explain why some people immediately reach for their phones during any moment of downtime. The device isn't just providing entertainment, it's providing reassurance. Evidence that they still exist in the minds of other people. Evidence that they're connected. Evidence that they matter. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with seeking connection, it becomes interesting when we realize how much of our behavior is driven by avoiding ourselves. Studies have repeatedly shown that many people would rather distract themselves than sit quietly with their own thoughts. In one famous experiment, participants were left alone in a room with nothing to do except think. Some even chose to give themselves mild electric shocks rather than remain alone with their thoughts for an extended period. Think about how strange that is. People preferred discomfort over introspection, not because introspection is dangerous, but because it requires confronting parts of yourself that are usually drowned out by noise. Solitude removes distractions. It reveals what's already there. Your worries, your hopes, your unresolved questions, the things you've been avoiding. This is one reason solitude can feel uncomfortable at first. Not because something is wrong, but because clarity often arrives before peace. Yet the people who learn to tolerate that process frequently discover something valuable on the other side. Creativity, for example, has long been associated with periods of solitude. Many writers, artists, scientists, and thinkers deliberately seek isolation when working through complex ideas. It's difficult to hear your own thoughts when the world is constantly speaking over them. Solitude creates space for reflection, and reflection creates insight. The goal isn't to become isolated from other people. Humans still need connection. The goal is to develop a relationship with yourself that doesn't collapse whenever you're alone. Because here's the paradox: the people who are most comfortable being alone often form healthier relationships. They aren't desperately searching for someone to complete them. They aren't treating relationships like emotional life support systems. They choose connections because they genuinely value them, not because they're terrified of being by themselves. This distinction matters. Relationships built from fear tend to become dependent. Relationships built from wholeness tend to become collaborative. One person is trying to escape loneliness. The other is choosing companionship. Those may look similar from the outside, but psychologically they're worlds apart. Perhaps that's why solitude has always occupied such a strange place in human culture. We fear it, yet we seek it. We associate it with loneliness, yet some of our deepest moments of growth happen there. The quiet walk, the long drive, the evening spent thinking instead of scrolling. These moments rarely look dramatic. Nobody applauds them. Nobody posts highlights from them, but they often become the spaces where people reconnect with themselves. The truth is that enjoying solitude doesn't mean you dislike people. It doesn't mean you're antisocial, emotionally detached, or somehow missing a fundamental human instinct. In many cases, it means you've learned something increasingly rare in a world built around constant stimulation. You've learned how to be present with yourself, and that's not withdrawal from life. It's a different way of participating in it. So if you've ever felt strange because you genuinely enjoy spending time alone, understand this. The psychology doesn't suggest you're disconnected from humanity. It suggests you've developed a relationship that many people spend years trying to build. A relationship with your own mind. And when that relationship is healthy, solitude stops feeling like emptiness. It starts feeling like freedom.